if GG play the composition correctly, they should technically never be caught.
Well, we're going to find out as we get into game then. It's a good team Multigaming versus GamingGear.eu, second semi-final of the CIS Regional Championship. And are we going to see any early action here? One can only pray.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that with a Cocoon on your side, NBS might be looking to set something up, as well as that dredge line from Nautilus. It can work out well. It'll slow his jungle path down, but it could set them up. At the moment, it's just a defensive start. Not to confuse the GG with Gambit Gaming. This is the CIS Regional.
They've not got a completely new lineup.
No. So for everybody that is on the stream or busy wondering what's up, this is, of course, the second semi-final for the CIS. Right now, though, good team Multigaming. They are moving into the jungle. Gold card is primed. And if a flash gold card lands, maybe, but they're not going to risk it just yet.
No, just going to move themselves in there. That gold card going to be timing out here as well, so that's going to be on cooldown. As Ezreal coming around the backside there, needs to be a little bit careful of his positioning from that one. Good team Multigaming here, got right up by that red buff. Going to get themselves some, or at least our ward down, and we've got an early pause.
Yes, we do have a very short pause. We'll see how quickly we can get the problem resolved. But good luck to us trying to figure out what it is by reading chat, right?
Yeah. We'll find that one out. Hopefully we'll get the message relayed to us here in just a second, and we'll be able to see exactly what the problem is. Seems to be over with GamingGear.eu. As you can see, a whole host of admins behind them there.
Admins and translators, I imagine.
Exactly.
Dave in the background saying, somebody let me know. So
actually, these guys speak, as you saw in the video there, great English as well, which is really nice to have.
And huge props as well. It's quite a stressful situation if you've never been in front of a camera before, and in the studio, the soundproof room and everything, and they start saying, what do you expect? Who are you going to defeat? You know, tell us about the tournament. But it's good to see these guys coming out on the stage and being quite optimistic, actually.
Yeah, and Deadly Brother actually said in the team chat earlier on, he's like, oh, not this video again. I don't want to see myself speaking English. But as you said, props to them. And as first language English speakers, not many of us actually know another language. So that's I appreciate people that can.
I have been a bit lazy. I would like to pull a Joe Miller and maybe learn a bit of German on the side as well.
But I can't even speak English today, so well, we'll forget about that one because we are going to get on pause.
As you've been officially anointed Jo Miller, you might have to do some casting in German.
And it wasn't even by Ocelot today, which surprised me. So here we go then. We are going to get back into game on pause. And we'll see what else is going to happen here at level 1. Currently, though, it looks to me like it'll be a pretty standard start. Those early wards going down just to keep the vision high on the junglers. One
of the things that is very good for good team Multigaming is the fact that they got that ward on the red buff. So they're going to be well aware of when Alina's Nautilus is going to be, picking up that buff and ready to set up ganks. So we'll see how well that affects them at the moment. As you rightly pointed out, just a very standard start. But we do see a lane swap coming in for GamingGear.eu as well as good team Multigaming, actually.
Yep, going to be switching that one around. We can see here that GG just making sure that red buff is going to be secure. They knew that there would have been a ward put down there, and they weren't going to risk any kind of late invade from that side. And Misfortune and Stone are going to be in this mid lane then against Elise, and it will be Renekton versus the Ezreal Zyra in the top.
So pretty well played here from GamingGear.eu, realizing that the duo lane was going to go mid. So they put their top lane in a 1v2. So you've still got a 1v2, but in different lanes. And they've stuck the mid v mid, which means Kassadin is not going to be denied quite as hard as he could be by that duo lane. So a good reactionary play. And we'll see how well it pans out, because, of course, TF should have the advantage in that lane against Kassadin in these early levels.
And I think we should point out at this point, because it confused a few people yesterday, we are playing on the 3.7 patch. That's because, basically, Europe, we've had DreamHack, we're here in Moscow. The teams, quite frankly, just not had the time here to be practicing that to a level which is fair to them. Yeah,
and there was quite a lot of changes in 3.8, of course, to the jungle and things like that. So, basically, we are 3.7. And we'll see how well these guys do. It's the patch they've been playing on for quite a while right now. Dealing with that Zyra in the top lane is very, very difficult for Turtle Basila, because of her immense range, but a little bit of help from this jungle Xin Zhao may work into their favor. He's got that double buff up. He's going to jump in onto Zyra, and there they go.
Yeah, I don't think Renekton really got the memo from that one, as we do see Grasping Roots go down, and Exhaust will stop them following in from that one. But, you know, as far as things go there for Gumbek, he actually did a great job of walking literally right in behind him. He may come for another go here on towards Zyra, who flashes away.
So she does get to safety. A very good grasping roots, both first in the lane, then following it up in the entry from Xin from the bottom. But burning the exhaust on that first gank, using that summoner spell, just means that if they do pick another duel, this Renekton and Xin Zhao will be able to overpower them and brute force them in a lane. The fact that Zyra is so incredibly low will allow Renekton some free time to farm.
Oh, down on the bottom there, we see a good engage coming out from both champions. The starting items between them, actually boots and the pots actually came down for Twisted Fate. On the other side, Crystalline Flask and the single ward coming out there for Kassadin up until now. So, right now, we see that top lane again, Turtle Basilic having a few issues getting in there anywhere near that farm. Doing a great job here of zoning him out.
And he's actually doing relatively well when you consider that the ranged Elise is only a couple CS ahead. Just quickly touching on the top lane before we move to the mid, Ezreal is running 8% armor penetration as well as 8% magic penetration. So slightly different to what we're seeing out of these AD carries. Gumbek on Xin Zhao has managed to set up an evade and go on this big wolf. He's picked the fight.
Yeah, going straight in towards Nautilus here, and don't want to give away that double buff, as we are going to see Sona come around the side as well. He just gets that last shot in onto the wolf, says thank you very much. That's enough gold. That's mission successful for me.
Going to be happy with that. Good invade, a lot of free damage into Nautilus, so it's going to prevent him maybe setting up a gank after he clears out the jungle camps for the next little wave or two. And very good aggressive play coming out of Gumbek's Xin Zhao. It's something you have to do on the champion, but it is affecting his CS. He's 10 behind his opponent, even with that steal.
Yeah, just gone back and picked himself up the Spirit Stone. We can see now that GG's starting to put down some damage as that wave. Now, they tried their best to freeze it out this entire time, but eventually pushing out towards that turret, and that will, or at least should, give this Renekton a good bit of free farm underneath his turret there. We hear the pings actually coming down, and that is because they've seen Zyra walk away, actually putting a pink ward down there inside River.
So we'll see how well the vision control works out for them. Xin Zhao's going to move up. Stun. Oh, that's actually a sidestep from that grasping roots. Inspiro's going to make sure he's going to need to land those to prevent them being jumped on later in the team fights. But with the immense mobility of Ezreal, with Elise, with Kassadin, it's actually going to be very, very difficult to make any of that hard CC stick for any lengthy period of time.
Yep, so we see the pings going down in mid lane once again. Gumbek, he's going to be going around the backside, actually smiting and taking away that big Wraith, which is going to be quite annoying, to be honest, for Alanir. Is going to walk in there with his Nautilus and be like, ah, damn, he's taking away the big minion in that camp, the big monster in that camp as well. Right now, we can see that Miss Fortune is really pushing heavy with Sona on this middle lane. Does have a good, solid 15 CS lead as well over Ezreal.
Now, the thing about that is that Miss Fortune's going to be a little bit more difficult to take the tower down based on a shorter range. And even though you do have Sona who's going to be able to heal whatever damage you do take, it's not quite as effective as the zoning potential as the likes of a Zyra under the turret, who can just put the grasping roots plus those little weed wards or weed towers, whatever you want to call them, down to help out. But the CS advantage is definitely playing into favor. The fact that Gumbek has ganked so much in this top lane has meant Ezreal has been under a lot more pressure to get those last hits, and it is showing.
Yeah, and one thing that's been really quiet is the bottom lane. Of course, Twisted Fate versus Kassadin, both of them being back, both of them picking up double Doran's ring. Obviously, the only real difference there, the starting items, the boots for TF and the flask for Cass.
Well, we have to give massive props to Mazarin because he is a melee champion in that lane, and he's got nearly a 20 CS lead, 15 is now with that wave, which should be practically impossible. Against a ranged champion as Kassadin, you just take so many auto attacks whenever you try to last hits, and I feel like that Peter Pucker did not play aggressively enough with that Twisted Fate.
Well, he is now level 6. And the thing is with the Twisted Fate, if he's in that bottom lane, you actually limit his capabilities, of course. In the mid lane where you used to see him, he can step north or south and gank both lanes, but right now he's not got many options in the bottom lane.
No, he can only go middle, but the one thing that does work out when he does go middle, he can stack the gold card and then follow it up with Crescendo. So even a slippery champion like Elise will be locked down if he gets hit by one of those two forms of CC. So we do see Alina trying to find an opening. He's gotten that ultimate available now as he is level 6. And because of that massive CS advantage over Xin Zhao, he actually hit it. He's been about half a level to a level ahead for the majority of this opening stages of the match.
All right, now we see him coming down towards this bottom lane. Twisted Fate just gonna see that via the ward that he put down earlier on and knows that that Nautilus is there. We'll have seen him backing off as well when he wants to be very, very sure that that's not going to turn around to him. Blue buff is now going to be coming up, but I expect Kassadin to back away from that one. May even give it over to Elise here by the looks of things. Elise just backs off towards the turret, but we'll see about that. Now it's going to be Kassadin that comes up. Yeah, it would be very useful in either of their hands, and for simple, you know, the fact that they spam their abilities in either human form or just Kassadin likes to be spammy. We do see that Gumbek is trying to invade once again. He does have level 6, and we've seen a couple of very good tower dives from Alternate coming onto this middle lane tower when they had the numbers advantage. It's actually how they beat Evil Geniuses last weekend at DreamHack, just diving in from the side, from behind the tower with a 3v1 situation. Instead, though, Alina looking to set up his first gank of the game. I do stand to be correct, but I don't think we've seen him present at all. And if Twisted Fate oversteps his bounds, he's going to eat a depth charge for his troubles. It does look like they got the chance to go. There's the silence. Depth charge is coming. Depth charge coming in for this one. He's going to be going down. This is surely going to be first blood. There is a Kassadin Rift walking in to pick it up. And that will be GG GamingGear.eu taking the first blood of the game. So very well played. And it was great in terms of their combination. They waited for the silence to come in, then the slow, then the depth charge. I'd actually thought that Nautilus would have opened with his ultimate first. But that was silly because it would have given Twisted Fate time to flash away and put more distance. So very good coordination coming out of GamingGear.eu. And you know what? Even though Nautilus has only had one gank, it's resulted in a kill. So props to him. And the thing is, he's played that farming game and he's played it well here. Obviously got himself ahead in levels of the Xin Zhao. We've seen his top lane constantly being pushed now. True Shot Barrage was used by Deadly Brother to push the waves completely away from this one. They want to get the first turret with this. And we'll see how quickly they can do it. It's down to about a third of its HP. And it's been a bit of a strange one because they haven't necessarily been focusing the turret quite as hard as maybe they needed to if they wanted a fast turret. So I think the reason I point that out, it's just to highlight that they only lane swapped to counteract Kassadin being shut down. That's all they wanted to do. Save Kassadin. Let's give him an easier lane. Right now, though, it does look like good team multigaming has started off the first dragon of the semi-final. Yep, that dragon going to be kicked off here. That's with the fact that they spotted him. But look at this. They're going to come right into this one. GG. Twisted Fate going to get involved. Rift walk away. Can they lock down anyone? Stun card is pulled. It lands on Nautilus. But the dragon is going slowly but surely. Finished off there finally by Xin Zhao. But they're going to take the fight here as well. They're going low. The bullet time comes out. Now they chase off towards Nautilus, who won't quite get away from this one. Now it's NBS who will get ignited up. Sends out the Spiderling and is headed down bottom side here. And I think he's going to get the escape from that one. And in the end, it ends with a 1-for-1 dragon taken by GTM, but on the other side, the top turret has fallen. So you're going to see that is exactly how team fights will play out the entirety of this match for GamingGear.eu. They just kited, went in and out and in and out the entire time as if they were dancing. And the crescendo from Sona, it only caught out Alinur's Nautilus. He was the only man that was stunned up by that ability. So very good play from GamingGear.eu, but they're going to need a little bit more damage if they want to try and pop the carries down, because they did try to jump onto Misfortune being played by My Lovely Form. So things quieting down again as we are seeing some different items coming out. Spirit of the Ancient Golem already picked up here for Xin Zhao. Brutalizer in with the... actually, we can forget that here because of the top lane. We're going to see some action. And there is a flash away from Turtle Bazilla, but he was, in fact, exhausted up. He's going to slice and dice through that wall and gets himself away. Close stuff there in that top lane. Overall, he'll be happy because he did actually burn out the exhaust coming out of Sona there. So, not too bad. And he actually picked that fight. He had full vision. He knew that Sona was trying to recall and Zyra was trying to recall and just jumped into that engagement. So very well played. So let's have a look at the overall gold right now. Really close still, just a 300 difference. Obviously, the dragon there and the tower really working off against each other. And right now it's GG with a 2-1 kill lead. Both kills lying with Kassadin, and we know what happens when a Kassadin starts to get fed up early on.
Yeah, it's vitally important to get that Kassadin, either some early CS or, of course, those early kills. And the question is how well Mazarin can actually position in these team fights, because if he does get focused by all the CC, he'll go down. What it means is the rest of his team will then need to clean up the team fight. So he is moving towards this mid lane from the river. Some very good wards actually from both teams right now, and just making sure that they're able to act and react as and when they need to. But very importantly, Twisted Fate's ultimate will be up shortly, so when that Destiny is available, expect good team Multigaming to make a play.
Yeah, I would certainly imagine to do that as we see Mazarin going down, farming up that bottom again. CS lead only building at this point, as it looks like My Lovely Form will be the man that is gifted that red buff. So red buff over on Misfortune. Looks like they want to make a play with that one. I can maybe get to the items here since they seem to be in a bit of a standoffish position once again. But yeah, if we look at the AD carries, BF Sword plus the Vamp sets coming out already for Ezreal with that tier. On the other side, Brutalizer first up with a Vamp Scepter and Doran's Blades.
So in terms of damage, they're actually pretty even. About 140 on Misfortune, about 150 on Ezreal. But the one thing that is interesting, we do see a bit of a steal going on. There's the blue, but it's taken away by GamingGear.eu. Too many Gs, but a good blue steal there. Damage-wise, they're similar. But with the Vamp Scepter and a Brutalizer, it's going to take MF a little longer to get to that Bloodthirster plus Black Cleaver, which is what she's working towards.
Yeah, we see them once again pushing up this mid lane. The turret not very healthy at this point. True Shot Barrage coming out. That'll certainly slow the push down. And GTM once again have to back away and wait for this one. Pretty much a full stack of champions in the mid lane at this point, aside from Elise, who's in the top. Yeah,
and the thing that we pointed out is that if good team Multigaming want to dive in, they need to throw everything they have forward. You notice Mazarin actually, he took a little bit of poke from Sona, but was scared of a gold card landing, so he used that Riftwalk away very, very defensively. If they're able to sort of bait that ability out, know that it's got a 6-second cooldown or so, then flash engage, they can shut Kassadin down very quickly. After that standoff has been running for a little while, Elise has finally moved down. Destiny's up, they're going on to the top.
Twisted Fate coming in there, and there's a repel coming out. Where is she going to come down? Right on top of the Strangled Thorns coming in. Bullet time goes across, not doing masses of damage right now, but the rest of the team may mop this one up. Zyra is burning from the Ignite, actually will walk away there. Must be single-digit HP. 2 kills coming in, though, on the other side from this one. And right now, they are exchanging. My Deadly Brother going around the side. Can he come back in? Will actually come back in with the Arcane Shift. There's another repel away from Elise, and he's going to go back in, and there is a double up, and that will be a triple kill for Misfortune, and 4 kills that fight.
And remember how that started. Gaming Gear dove onto good team Multigaming, picked up a very quick kill early on. They were at a 4 versus 5 advantage in that position, but because of how out of position Gaming Gear.eu were, they couldn't use that mobility to focus down one target quickly enough, and the double up simply doubling his kills onto both Ezreal and Zyra. So very, very good play there. Puts him in a 4-0-1. I was talking about how it's going to take him longer to get his items. Not anymore, it's not.
Yeah, and picking up a Bloodthirster there on that way home, so nice little pickup for that. The bullet time, as you said, not doing masses of damage just yet, but that's not really where his biggest power was coming from during that last fight. There we see blue buff going over once again towards Kassadin. Turtle Bazilla going to be pushing out this top lane, which, don't forget, he's already lost that outer turret on much earlier on in the game. Twisted Fate picking up a needlessly large rod now, added in towards that Cage's lucky pick, so he's starting to become a little bit, or he certainly is going to become a little bit of a problem. Those waves not going to be lasting very long whatsoever, and we just saw there that they really like to use that Destiny. They're not holding it back for a special situation. They seize an opportunity when they can.
Yeah, and it was purely because Elise was a little bit out of position there. NBS moving down, trying to support his teammates. We do see another fight engaging in the middle. There's the crescendo.
Oh, it's a good one as well. Manages to catch 3 men in it. And My Lovely Form is now unstoppable as he picks up his 5th kill of the game, yet to be taken down. Juicy target for the opposition, though, right now to get that bonus back.
So they got the dragon in the very first dragon of the game. They've got the timer on this one. It does look like Gaming Gear want to at least try and challenge for this one, but they don't have that smite. Look for maybe a flash gold card. Oh, Twisted Fate doesn't even have flash, so that's not going to happen. Zyra ultimate's down.
Yeah, and then we are going to see them go in here. GTM looking for blood as he going towards NBS. Let's see if they can actually lock him down, though. Elise going to be tricky as a bullet time comes in. Elise will get away from that one. Kassadin was being an annoyance from the back. He had to risk walk away with hardly anything, and in the end, no kills picked up.
Yeah, it's so difficult for good team Multigaming to stick onto GG in the setup. Almost every single one of their champions has some form of mobility or crowd control that's just going to make your life hell. You've got to walk through that Riptide of Nautilus, the little minefield that slows you down. You've got to walk through Zyra, and if you get through those, the mobility on Elise, Cass, and Ezreal is the reason they could have that very pokey 4 versus 5 engage and actually get away relatively unscathed.
So Pickaxe had it in there for Misfortune. On that last trip home, we are going to see them try and defend now this outer turret in the mid lane. Zyra just putting the plants down. Well, bring them to life here to try and hold them back in just a second. There we go. That turret looks like it will survive, at least for this wave.
Yeah, so if they do stay together and continue this pressure, they should be able to get it down within the next couple of waves, unless, of course, GTM decide to engage and really hold on to that tower. They're still even on towers 1-1. They've traded the middle tower for red side for the top tower on blue. And look at all those wards around Dragon. I mean, that is a mass of wards. It was in preparation of the previous Dragon fights, but it'll also determine the pace of these next few fights because both teams are going to be fully aware of where their opponents are.
Yeah, and probably the support's going to be out of a bit of a cash here to get those wards down in future anyway. Both already upgraded to that Ruby site. So there is Mazarine just pushing this bottom lane out, but in response to that, GTM actually going towards that inner middle turret, and as you see in the on the minimap there, Mazarine and his team decided we have to pull back for this.
Now, outside of that True Shot barrage, GG actually have relatively poor wave clear. Kassadin is very short range, as is Nautilus, you know, in terms of his abilities. Yeah, you've got the volatile spiraling from Elise, which will of course help, but it's not your traditional wave clear that you've got from the likes of a Twisted Fate using his wild card. So in terms of defending a siege, it's going to be quite difficult if a concerted effort is put down from GTM.
There is the blue buff going over to Twisted Fate once again. Finally, once he takes it down, not exactly super high on damage right now.
There we go. Then it took, what, eight wild cards, I think?
Slowly but surely he gets there to pick that one up. This top lane actually being pushed out here as well. If you look at the CS there, at least does have an advantage, but it's not huge.
No, but with a massive wave, you can see the entire team of GTM stacking up. Initially, I thought they were going to dive onto NBS. There's the stun, and here's the fight.
Yeah, they are going to go in for this one. Kassadin coming around the side as well. The grasping root's not quite connecting. And all of a sudden, both teams just kind of say, well, didn't quite go as we expected that one, but that may change it. The hook going to come in onto Jay Mesa. Can he get away from this one? We still have Nautilus at the front. He has to flash away from that. Great grasping root coming in. Not sure it was even meant for a Renekton there, as he actually did slice and dive straight over into it. But again, low health on a couple of men across the board, but still no kills.
Really interesting from Alinja. Even though he caught Sona, the call was not to fight. The call was not to engage in that particular setup because he didn't use his ultimate. He didn't send out that mine to chase down somebody else and interrupt their abilities. That's the key. The members of GTM are so tightly stacked that they'd pulled Sona towards them, and if that mine had hit somebody in the back, you know, a little further behind, it would have actually bought time for Elise and Kassadin to kill Sona instantly, but it didn't happen, so they get away with their lives instead.
Now the Rabadon's death cap has been finished by Twisted Fate, and that makes him, of course, a whole lot stronger already. See what impact he can have. He's still 20 CS behind the Kassadin, who, as you mentioned earlier on, doing a great job, but Kassadin could be in trouble. So
we'll see if Twisted Fate does jump in here, because look, Renekton snuck into the bottom bush. Sona's coming from the tri-bush as well. GTM, they reveal themselves and just stack up. They just want to shove the tower down. They have the tower advantage, and if they manage to pick this one up, it's going to give them a very good map position to play from.
Kassadin doing a great job here, getting that silence off, getting the slowdown wherever they can, and they're going to try and force them back here from this. There was a rift wall, which was kind of rift walked in and walked straight back from it. He's like, nah, I'm not sure that I can really start things off. Zyra and Nautilus are still up by that blue buff, and they want to make sure that that is secure.
Yeah, they're going to definitely want that in Castellan's hands. If he wants to keep those rift walk stacks up and deal all that additional damage from stacking it up as quickly as possible, he needs the regen. And if you look at his items, he's only got a Philo Stone as well as that, Catalyst Protector and Tear of the Goddess. So that hasn't been upgraded to anything. He did so well shutting Twisted Fate down early, but it hasn't actually shown in terms of itemization.
No, but he will get there, and that's, let's not forget, he's 3-1-1 right now. Pretty much the opposite of what Twisted Fate has got, if you look at the scoreboard. We'll see how that one all works out. GG going to be headed back here now that bottom lane seems to be a little bit safer, although saying that it isn't really that much safe. Cassidy went back because he wanted to get that Rod of Ages as early as possible to start the stacking.
So it is in there at 23 minutes, which is actually a little slower than what we see out of the usual mid players from LCS. But of course, it has been a pretty chaotic game, back and forth in terms of the map presence. They have jumped onto Islander's Nautilus, but he's just going to spider pull himself away to safety. And right now, just GTM, they're trying to find an opportunity. Zyra with a good ward will reveal them, but you can just see it's GTM saying, we want to fight, we want to fight, we want to fight, and GG going, well, we don't really have a comp for that. So they're playing the passive defensive game.
All right, now they've got the positioning on Dragon, but there are wards everywhere. Cassidy was pushing out that top lane. GTM probably had their opportunity right there to start things off. But now Cassidy is coming down and they decide, okay, now let's do it, which I'm not sure is going to be the best idea.
Yeah, they do start with a fight. The True Shot Barrage doesn't manage to steal it, but he has a big engage.
Yeah, there we go. Stranglethorn's going to be flashed away from Crescendo, came in as well. But Misfortune is being focused, going to get shut down here by Elise. Can they get any more? Twisted Fate, the next target for GG. Double kill Elise. Can he get any more here? Yes, well, actually, it was Cassidy that picked that one up, and they're going to keep focusing down on towards Xin Chao. Ezreal used the barrier. He will get the kill. And Elise somehow manages to survive down this bottom side, but on the other side, it's only this Renekton who's up until now getting himself away there. We saw Mazarine actually rift walking right on top of him. Doesn't have the mana. He's going to get that regen from the blue, but either way, it's a solid fight coming out from GG.
So two things we have to point out. GamingGear.eu, they managed to drag that fight out and split up the members of GTM so that their skirmish, dive-in, dive-out composition could work. They end up trading 2 deaths to pick up 4 kills as well as his tower. They'll be very happy with that, even though they lost the dragon. The one thing I do want to point out, though, is that that fight took a very, very long time to conclude. And once Renekton and Xin Zhao start getting tankier and beefier, it's going to be much more difficult for them to clean up as effectively because it'll take much more members. And if they split up and they do that one-on-one, 2v1 kind of thing, it may not actually work against that very powerful Xin Zhao and Renekton.
And we saw the beeline there for Misfortune as well. Like, she was a little bit too involved at the middle of that fight. They said, well, Misfortune's there. It's an easy bounty for us if we head off to that side.
And I don't think she used a bullet time in that engagement either.
Nope.
So because she was too close to the fight and, the gap closers of her enemies were able to, close her down, she couldn't use that bullet time. With the Last Whisper in there, with the Bloodthirster, that is going to hurt a lot.
Right now, we gather up once again. That blue buff here for Twisted Fate. And hanging on a bit of a knife edge this game. It is a 3,000 gold lead, give or take, here for good team Multigaming. They're behind a little bit on kills. We're tied in turrets. So, it's one of those scenarios where things can switch so very easily. One person being caught out and then a bad team fight for GTM would actually see them pretty much going behind in gold straight from there. And it's hard to say exactly when this next fight's going to come up because I don't think either team really wants it at this point.
No, I completely agree with you. And I think that the longer this game goes, the better it actually looks for GamingGear.eu. And the reason I say that, Elise, Cassidy, and Zyra are all going to scale so incredibly well. And even though Ezreal is going to be a slightly different AD carry to Misfortune, his mobility and the ranged poke is going to be so much more useful in these type of sieges. So the longer it goes, the better they're looking. Right now, though, doesn't look like they want to wait time. Here's a big engagement.
And there we see, though, they go in on towards Ezreal. The Arcane shifts away, gets the cover from Nautilus, who just dredge lines away from it. It's really easy for them to get out of this fight, and GTM, unless they, I feel like, land a brilliant crescendo, they're going to find it hard to get it started.
Yeah, especially if they have those signals. If you're relying on Renekton and Xin Zhao now. It's very easy to plan that grasping roots, very easy to strategically place a Strangle Thorns from Zyra. So she's just going to put the ultimate down and pop it up. And look at how difficult it is to defend a tower against this team. Ezreal, Zyra, Elise are so good at poking you down from range. And if you get low enough, Nautilus is just going to say, well, I'm going to dredge line you, or I'm going to, put my bomb on you, depth charge, and just chase you in there.
Again, they push back. I mean, they do, as you mentioned earlier on, the wave clear on the other side from Twisted Fate, to be honest, is probably enough to be giving them a decent defense, especially with that Misfortune and double up in there, and pretty much the entire creep wave is gone. But they risk the whole fact here of being caught out by that cocoon, by anything really that rolls on in from Zyra, and then the fight will get started. At this point, they're still pretty determined to keep this mid lane pushing though.
Yeah, I'm so glad you pointed out that cocoon, because if the cocoon catches the likes of TF, MF, or Sona, that's going to be an instant go, because Elise, Cassidy, and Ezra will all jump on you in a heartbeat and manage to, burst down those squishy targets. I do want to touch on Ezreal's build, because we haven't actually really pointed it out. Bloodthirster, so he went tier first into Bloodthirster, and now the making of the Blade of the Ruined King. It's a very non-traditional Ezreal build. It's not a DPS Ezreal, and it's not a traditional blue Ezreal either. So he's making a build that's comfortable for him, and it's working out for the most part. I mean, he doesn't have the same kills as Misfortune, but he's positioning well, he hasn't been caught, and he picked the right AD against the composition that he's facing.
Yeah, and that poke certainly is doing decent, and, well, if he loses any health, he's got the Bloodthirster in there as well. He gets it all straight back from the next wave coming out. And we see that poke coming in. And there's a rhyme in there somewhere with Peter Poker. Picked a poke of Ezreal's.
I'm sure
something like that. I'll get that one in later if I can manage it. It's going to take some thinking and the right situation, I think. But right now they wait again on this inner turret. But now they back off. It's like, well, we can't quite get through there. We need to do something else with the time that we've got.
The thing that's scary here for Gaming Gear is that if they do get close enough to a tower to start auto-attacking, it means they're close enough to have Zinzao Renekton dive on your face or a flash crescendo to happen. So basically, they're playing the poke game because they have a little better poke, they have a little better range across the team members. And that's all they're doing, is they're just stalling for time. They don't know how to get onto that tower yet. And with Twisted Fate's passive, the entire team of good team Multigaming is actually generating quite a bit of gold with each of the CS that they pick up. It's let's do a quick thing, 400, it's close to about 1,000 gold already just from the TF passive.
Yeah, and that's maybe what's giving them, what makes it look that way. We've seen Blade of the Ruined King now finish for Ezreal. If we didn't really talk about the Zhonya's that was finished earlier on by Elise. We're seeing Dragon now being done by GG, and we'll see if they can hold them out.
So this is the first Dragon that GG have done. Take a look at this. Zinzao flashed over the wall to try and steal. He's jumped in to pick a fight.
He may just end up losing out to this one, but we do see Renekton coming in, the depth charge, the Strangle Thorns, a crescendo at the back. That's the important thing in this fight as they take down Misfortune. Sona will die as well, or will she? Actually getting away from that just about. But look at Ezreal. He's doing masses of damage to them as they chase down all the other champions. He's at full HP. He'll be able to clear up this one if they don't take him out here. And there is the finisher. That will be an ace for none.
An ace for nothing, plus the Dragon triple kill picked up by Cassidy. He was soaking up so much damage at the beginning of the fight, and even though the crescendo was amazing, a 4-man Strangle Thorns knocked up every single member of GTM. The kiting that came out of GG was simply superb. They were positioned so well during the course of that fight, and the Blade of the Ruined King kept Zinzao off Ezreal. Zin dove onto him, was about to get the knockup. He got hit by the active, and he just backed away. Such a good fight there from GamingGear.eu. The Dragon, the Baron, and 5 kills, they're in the driving seat.
Yeah, and I mean, the funny thing is that Misfortune was right at the back of the fight there, but they went in onto her. Again, bullet time wasn't used in that fight, which at this stage, with a Black Cleaver, a Last Whisper, Bloodthirster, that's a lot of damage that wasn't brought out by My Lovely Form.
And the reason for that is because of Gumbek going in aggressive into the Dragon Pit. He flashed over the wall to try steal and went, oh, bugger, it's not here. And then he decided, all right, let's use my abilities, let's pick a fight. So the rest of his team was not positioned. They were not ready for that engage because they didn't burn their flash to clear the wall, which meant Misfortune was out of position, no bullet time across everybody, and effectively team fight lost. If that bullet time had been cast, all of those 200, 300 HP bars might be 0.
Indeed. That's the ifs and buts that they'll surely be asking themselves after this game if they don't go on to win it. It is, despite that, still close. Of course, the goal was in favour of GTM before. It's taking a swing now to around about 300.
And in order for Gaming Gear to actually win this game, they're going to need to do that. Ooh, Cassidy putting so much damage down onto My Lovely Form. That's one single combo. Rift Walk into the Null Sphere plus the Force Pulse, and that was it. That is how low MF went. So she's in definitely insta-pop range.
Yeah. That death cap now finished off, and right now GG looking for another tower for turret number 4 this game. We are 32 minutes in, which, if I'm not wrong about this, I think it's the longest that we've seen out of this would be, of course, the 4th CIS game, as we are going to see Gomba going in there. But can they actually lock them down here? Elise is not with the team at this point. There is Destiny Pop, and that's going to be the signal to actually go in for this. Twisted Fate coming around the back, but he's going to go down. There is the bullet time. He gets them 1 kill. Sona gets a good crescendo off as well, but again, the Strangled Thorns coming in. Zyra will die at the backside, but again, the focus coming right in on top of them. Cassidy doing a great job. Picks himself up a double and a triple. Can he get another one? Hooked in there. Quadra kill coming down. Can he chase in here for the pentakill? And right now, Turtle Bazilla is running away, and they decide not to chase in. Well, that will be a 4 for 2 this time around. This time they got the Ezreal out of the fight, but it was the Kassadin again doing work. Mazarin
is just playing Kassadin to perfection. He knows exactly how much damage he can deal and how much damage he can survive, kiting in and out of every single one of these engagements. 11-1-5. He won his lane against a ranged opponent, and now he's winning every single team fight. He got a triple kill in the previous fight, a quadra kill now. If one more fight happens, statistically, I think we'll get that penta.
Yeah, I guess you're right with that one. It took me a minute to realise what you were getting. I was like, that doesn't, wait a minute. Oh, okay, I get you now. But yeah, I mean, with that Rod of Ages in there as well, and double door and strings, we shouldn't forget. He's really tanky. He got about 2,500 HP, plus he's sat on just over 400 AP as well, so he's got the best of both worlds here. So with the items that he's just completed now, the Ceres Embrace, his ability power is just skyrocketed to 681. He has double the ability power of Twisted Fate right now, who's sitting at around 350, so there's a massive difference. And of course, all of that mobility from Riftwalk, plus the bonus damage of having multiple stacks, you can see it on the bottom left of your screen. He's on 4 stacks, that'll go to 5. That adds more damage with each stack, and he can pretty much one-shot Misfortune now if he does get all of his spells on her. Yeah, if he gets the chance to get in. You see that Elise has finished up now the Leandra's Torment. Going to be going in to the Crystal Scepter here to add into that as well. So nice and tanky, good damage. Got the fallback option, I guess we can say, of that Zhonya's Hourglass. We've got the Mirror Mana now added in and finished for Ezreal. So since that last fight around the Dragon, you know, take the Dragon, get the Ace, get the Baron, that's really just pushed them to a different level. Yeah, and I really like the itemization as well. So not only is the team incredibly mobile, that Blade of the Rune King, the active, allowing the slow, will keep one of the melee champions off Ezreal for a couple seconds longer. You can see the Leandries is now being built into the Rylai's Crystal Scepter as well as his next item for release. So there's going to be an on-hit slow there as well. And just look at this poke. I mean, you have to go through all of that before you can even get to your opponents. And even if you do, they're just going to use the rest of their abilities to escape. It's a very difficult position to be in if you're a good team multigaming. This is an inhibitor by the looks of things. Well, GTM decide to try and stop this one. So they're going to have to, because if they let it go down, obviously the map will be in complete favor of GG. But the problem is, every time they have tried to pick a fight with Xin and Renekton, the rest of the GG members have been able to escape. So there's another fight, and we'll see if any CC lands. They're going to go straight in on towards that one. Nautilus is in the middle, and look at the Strangled Thorns. He knocks 4 of them up. This is going to be an absolute massacre. Good bullet time coming over, though. That will take down Ezreal. Mazarin is forced away at the backside as well. Is he going to be taken down? He'll Rift Walk out. Actually puts the Null Sphere down. Here comes Twisted Fate, who doesn't quite get the stun card down. The Cocoon comes in. He does die there just about in the end of that one. And Misfortune now against Elise. Who's going to have the best time in this one? Misfortune with that constant damage. Flashes over, and they get an ace. 5 for 4. 5 for 4, massive trade there, and it was a very good engage in a tight quarter. What Xin Zhao did is he knocked
all of the mobile champions from GG away, meaning that their mobility spells were used to just get back in the fight as opposed to deal damage in, at the same time. What we also seen is because they were forced to, react to that Xin Zhao ultimate, they weren't able to just pile on top of Misfortune, and the first bullet time that we've seen in a very long time, successfully dropping the HP of their opponent. So good positioning, fighting in a choke hold, and working out in favor of GTM.
Yeah, and as you said, Ezreal focus, Kassadin focus. That was it in that fight, even though, let's not forget, 4 people were knocked up by that Stranglethorns, which is a successful Stranglethorns. Usually you'll not get 4 men up in the air with that one, but really, really well done. And that just shows that this game is not over just yet. I mean, we're 37 minutes in. He's 22-15 in kills, which is a substantial lead for GG. But only 4,000 gold really separates these two teams. So one more fight here for GTM, especially with 20 seconds on the Baron and the Dragon being live. It could swing around again.
Yeah, it's just going to depend on these next couple of engagements. The thing is, GTM cannot afford to lose. They cannot afford to have any more mistakes or any more misplays because they've got an exposed inhibitor. So, they'll just make a beeline for that bottom lane and grab themselves that inhib. What I do like out of the itemization here from GTM, you got the Twin Shadows on Twisted Fate, which is not too unusual, but it's going to help him slow down his opponents, removing some of their kiting power. You have Quicksilver Sash that My Lovely Form's been sitting on for a little while, and against the Cocoon, the Dredge Line, the Silence, the Root, that's a lot of CC that you can, at least get rid of some of it during the course of a team fight. So we're going to have to keep a very close eye on that active and see as and when it gets used, because it could determine the difference between a bullet time and not a bullet time.
Oh, and that's going to be bad there. The Cocoon landed in on towards Gumbeck, and he's the man who is supposed to be all strong and tanky, and in the end, he's almost lost his life to just that quick combo coming out, and that might be enough to force him back. Of course, he's the one with Smite that he's off cooldown at this stage as well.
So they're relying on Sona's heal to bring him back up to life. There is some vision at the top of that little banana bush, as you can see. So the members of GTM, they're in full vision of their opponents. Xin Zhao's gone in, and he's been separated from his team. The Dredge Line misses, though.
Oh, there was Kassadin. There is a nice combo coming out again. He puts Xin Zhao low. They are going to force these wards away. Oracle on the jungler and wards over the top of the wall. So they've got complete vision control now, GG, over this Baron area. Will they go in for it? I say that. Obviously, Destiny is something that will be able to change that one out, but he's not going to be able to use the second part of that Destiny to get himself actually into the fight. And that will just reveal that they were starting off that Baron. There's J-Mesa. Look at that. Downed instantly by Mazarine, who's going to be in trouble himself. Actually, will Rift walk away? Just about escaping there at the back. They turn around onto Twisted Fate. Ezreal's still at half HP from this one. They turn around. Misfortune going to get down from Ezreal as well. And now they are going to lose Renekton, and he's all going to be on the Xin Zhao. He was low, he came back into the fight, but he is not going to escape it again, and that will be an ace with a double kill from Ezreal with a 40-second spawn time.
Once again, just fantastic positioning from Gaming Gear. They simply kited their opponents perfectly. They went in and out, dodged the damage, and there was so much thrown onto Kassadin that when he did get away, it was like, oh my word. He survived the last tick of Ignite, he survived the last bit of damage from bullet time, and his team just really, really playing the composition well.
So one thing that's interesting right now, they're going to go for this inhibitor. I don't think that they might have time to get through for the rest of it, It looks like they're going to try this one at least. Sona's up, 10 seconds for Xin as well. There's
a lot of damage, and even though, they've got 2 mages on their side, they've got a lot of ability power between them, so you can see how quickly they're chunking those Nexus turrets down. It looks like GamingGear.eu going to pick up the first game in the series, and in what style? Crescendo's out, they just pop Sona instantly.
Mazarine getting another kill, and that'll be 1-0 now for Gaming.